Welcome back to On Purpose by Design. In the next 6 minutes, you'll be equipped with the tools that will support you in leading a life of purpose as you embrace your mission and calling that God has placed deep into your heart. Today, we're exploring that if you're going to lead any organization, you must understand that there's going to be age gaps. There are going to be different generations that you will need to be influencing. This means that you can't speak to the 50-year-old the same way that you'll speak to the 20-year-old. You must be cognizant of this. Now, it's not that you need to change who you are. You need to adapt to who you're talking to. This is what makes good leaders great. They understand that who they're speaking with is going to require tailored kind of communication. It's going to require a deeper level of communication and a deeper level of understanding. It's going to invite you to step into a new level of curiosity if you are to create a level of influence with the 20-year-old and the 50-year-old alike. So these 3 ideas will support you in that. Let's begin. Number 1, you need to understand the need to encourage cross-generational learning. Before you try to get somebody else to do it, however, you must do it yourself. So you must take the time to explore what is the generation that you are speaking to and leading. What are they about? What are they like? For me, I'm a big brother through big brother, big sister. The terminology my little brother uses, I have no idea. But guess what? If I am to be relevant in his life, I must understand some of the lingo that he uses. Now, that doesn't mean that I go ahead and use it. What that does mean is that when I am trying to communicate a message to him, I will communicate the way in which I normally do. And if I need to, I can go and relate with him. It gives me an opportunity to let him know I care enough about him that I'm actually learning into who he is and what he's about. Because maybe just right now, you may say some things to your kids, to your coworkers, to your friends that are maybe of a different generational gap, generational age, and they look at you like you have 3 heads. For me, this happened to me directly. I was knocking doors one day. I'm in a very Jewish community in Jersey, and I knock a door. A woman opens up a door. Clearly, she is of the Jewish religion. And the first thing I do, I reach out my hand to shake her hand. Now, if you are any wiser than I am, you would know that you don't touch another Jewish woman's hand. They only touch their husband's hand. I didn't know this. Needless to say, that deal went nowhere. So just a small example that we must take the time to be curious enough and be interested enough to actually understand who it is that we are looking to lead. Because ultimately, leading is just one thing and one thing only: influence. And if you are to create a level of influence with somebody, you must build a bridge. A bridge of what? Trust. So take the time, encourage cross-generational learning, and before you try to have other people do it, you must do it yourself. Number 2, adapt communication styles. Some people, and we can get at the very deep level we can get at the shallow level, which is like, prefer emails, they prefer Slack, do they prefer text messages, do they prefer phone calls, do they prefer meetings? All of those things are super important for you to be mindful for. But the deeper level of it is, what type of communication style actually works with the person that you're working with? Every single person that you work with, and maybe even yourself, you can recognize that who you are influenced by influences you for certain reasons. And one of those key things that you may be completely unaware of is the way in which they communicate with you. Some employees and some team members will need you to be direct. They'll need you to be that A to B kind of communication. Some other employees will need you to give them the reasons to actually do the thing you're asking them to do. These are the much more emotional driven people. Some people don't want to hear it. All they want to do is see an email come in that tells them what they need to do, and they'll go ahead and do it. So you must, again, this comes back down to that sense of curiosity. If you are going to understand how to communicate with the people that you are influencing, leading, you must first know who they are, what moves them, what drives them, what influences them. Another example on this. In the door-to-door space, at this point in time, I was leading a team of door knockers. We were creating incentives for the team to go out and create more deals, sell more, ultimately for them, make more money. The easy thing to do was to give them a higher incentive. Let's have them make more money. We thought that would absolutely rock performance. To our surprise and our dismay, it didn't, because not everybody is influenced by money. This is a clear illustration that we were trying to communicate to the team that we care about you, we want you to succeed, we're willing to give you more money. However, some of the people were actually driven by other things than just money. Some people just wanted to get a book. So what do? We give them a book when they hit a certain level. much cheaper than the added bonus we were giving them. So just mind you, it's not necessarily what is obvious. This does require a different level of intention if you are to lead the team at the next level. So adapt your communication style. Number 3, this is especially in the world of today, super important. Do your best to avoid stereotypes. Every generation has unique strengths in and of themselves. So the deeper part to that is stop treating people in the way in which you think they are. Because ultimately that's what a stereotype is. We reinforce a stereotype because the way in which we think they are based on a past culture that we have historically seen, which more than likely are not even accurate. So instead of you treating people like you think they are, I invite you to open yourself up to see them in new ways. Abraham Lincoln said it best. If you see somebody as they are, they will be as they are. If you see them as they can be, they will be like they were destined to be. So it's a totally different perspective because you as the leader, you have the power, you have the authority, you have the ability to empower your team in such a way where you see them bigger than they see themselves. And this ties into not seeing people as stereotypes because maybe you have a junior that comes into the organization. And by the sense that they're a junior, somebody that is brand new, you're thinking, maybe they don't know exactly what they're doing. I'm going to give them some menial tasks. And I've seen this happening as well in a different organization. We were giving somebody menial tasks that were more prepared for much more advanced tasks. Well, luckily, we had an open level of culture within the organization, which allowed this individual to speak up, which showed us they wanted much more to do. They wanted much more responsibility. They were ready to take on more tasks, even though they just got started. Now, this wouldn't have happened if we didn't have an open culture, if people didn't feel safe to share what they were going through. So these 3 things connect really well if you're looking to lead people in different generational gaps, different ages. Number 1, mentorship goes ways. You must ensure that you're learning about the people around you, who you're working, who you're leading. 2, adapt communication styles. Yes, email, text message, phone number. More importantly, what is the person like? What kind of personality do they need to approach them in order for the conversation and the message to actually land on the other side? Number 3, avoid stereotypes. See people like they could, not as they are. See them bigger than they see themselves, and you'll see the way in which they rise into new levels of leadership. For yourself, what is the biggest generational gap in leadership today that you see? How do you see in your organization today that the different age gaps is creating a bigger chasm, which is leading your team to not effectively show up? Explore that question for yourself and see how you can now be the one to come into the picture and support in that. The moment you do so, you'll see your team engage, deeper level of culture, and a next level of performance. See you next time.